Our next session is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a question and answer session with one of our software engineering bachelors and one of our data science bachelor students at ELU, Adrian Sardinata and Viktor Rodau. I'm not sure if I'm saying everyone's name right or not, but hi, Adrian. Hi, Victor. Thank you for joining me today. Um, so, just to start with, can you both tell me a little bit about yourself? Maybe Victor can start.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Victor. I'm a second year graduate at ELU, and I'm learning data science. I've chosen to come to this university as a mid-career move. Yeah.
Okay. Adrian?
Hello. Yes. I'm Adrian. I'm currently in Bali. Live in Bali, and if I have to describe myself, I'd say I'm someone who I've just graduated from high school, but I'm someone who's extremely passionate about the future. I think the next 30 years will be a time of excitement and turbulence.
Nice. And so I'll start with you. Why did you decide to become a software engineer?
Me?
Yes,
Or
you,
oh,
Adrian.
um, the reason why I became a software engineer, well, there was two primary reasons. The first one being that I had a deep belief, at least in my circumstance, that software engineering is like kind of like a dual degree of management and software, because the engineering process itself is teaches you how to think much more effectively. And I think it could be said the same for other disciplines, but I think it's the most unique to engineers because we are the most concerned about efficiency and effectivity. And engineering also, one of the famous quotes that I like from Alfred P. Sloan is that he said similarly about his electrical engineering education being very valuable for when he became the CEO of General Motors. And I think it's doubly true for software engineering because working with computer programs all the time, we get the urge to constantly wanting to increase our thought process because as a software engineering, your productivity is directly proportional to how you sequence your thoughts and how value adding those thoughts are. And so therefore, it urges you to do that. And in software engineering, you get a lot of chance to do that because computer programs are very malleable. You can change them quickly and get feedback from those things. And that's why I think that's a very core and essential part of engineering. And another part, of course, is the knowledge and skills which you gain from it, which I don't think I need to explain because all the other people before me have said and explained why it is important and useful for the
Yeah.
next 30 years or so.
Yeah, thank you. And what about you, Victor? I know you're studying data science, but why did you decide to study data science, become part of the tech industry?
Of course. So as I mentioned before, I've chosen to come to ELU for the purpose that I'm in a mid-career kind of case, and my current role and position is data analytics lead in my current role. And when I've been talking throughout the entire value chain of data analytics product, I've discovered that there is a certain gap in between the conversations I have with the business, where we are talking about business initiatives and business strategy, and the value the business wants to deliver, and its connection to the products data can provide you. And how do we create and shape our roadmaps, and how do we create and shape our end products, which are the consumables the business wants to use? How will they be connected? So all the time during these conversations, data science was considered like the magic box, the magic black box that I put some stuff into and some magic happens and I get some insights out of it. So I really wanted to break down and understand what's inside this magic box and how can I exploit that knowledge which comes with data science throughout my conversation with the business partners and implement it into the strategy of data analytics.
Very nice. And I know that you are working now, like you said, as a data analyst. How are you able like to combine your studies with your work?
Yeah, so the reason why, for instance, I've chosen this university because I didn't want to compromise my day-to-day work. And the program offers you the flexibility so you can, without compromising your activities during the day, you can still focus on learning during the evenings and during the weekends, and pretty much very flexibly, manage and organize your schedule of your specific program, of your specific cohort, to achieve the targets. I think also because the program is more practical, which I needed as a capability. I wanted to learn the skills comes with data science. I wanted to learn the methodologies of data science, um, and I wanted to get this knowledge the fastest I can through practical terms and practical programs.
Thank you. And Adrian, I believe you're not working, but I'm not sure. You just graduated high school. Are you working?
No, I'm fully studying, but like other students of ELU, I think I appreciate a lot the flexibility that it provides because like them, I allocate some time to work with the ELU, but I also do a lot want to do a lot of other things on the offside on my own work. Mm.
Oh, okay. And so why did you both chose to study online rather than face to face? Why was that something good for you? Adrian, you can.
Okay. The reason why I chose online was because at the time, a semester ago, the pandemic situation was very uncertain. So therefore, I decided to do it online rather than do a university and then having to be locked down. And another part of it is, of course, that's on. So for software engineering, being online is not much of an obstacle because there's not an element of physical to it. Everything can be done online, and you get also a lot of freedom of action with being it online. You can do it the things you think is better.
Yeah. And what about you, Victor?
I think it's the same reason. I mean, I think during the pandemic days, we could see that online, working online, managing teams online is working very well. And as I said before, I didn't want to have compromises on my work and day-to-day job, which can, be from early in the morning till late in the evenings. Going into specific locations could have jeopardized some of my flexible schedules across. So I didn't want to take this burden on of moving locations physically while I'm working with an entire kind of organization in a remote space anyway.
Yeah, I understand. I'm also doing my master's at ELU, so for me it's nice to be online, so it can be flexible for me to work as well. So if you guys could talk a little bit about your experience with the program so far, like what are some of the things that you've learned that you think are important? Um, Victor.
I think one of the key takeaways from me was the practical part of it. You can with working with peers is teaching you a lot sidewise as well. But also you can learn how to find the ways around data science yourself, because partially you're given the program or the project. You have the online meetings where you meet your peers, meet your mentors, but there's a lot of background work. Do your own research, do your own case studies to understand a physical product at the end of the day, which you need to deliver to pass on to the next part of the specific season. So what I've learned out of it is like how you can come around a specific problem, um, and solutions are not given throughout the courses. You need to figure it out yourself. There's very seldom that we come to an end and we say, okay, this is how you solve it, but it's more like a different way of solving the same problem. It's more about, find your own ways, which I think will be very crucial in the later stages of anyone's work who is going to go to this path on a full-time job, actually.
Yeah, like Victor said before, it's important for you, like we try to teach you how to learn instead of just giving you all the answers. And what about you, Adrian? I'm going to repeat the question. Maybe you don't remember your program experience so far and some of the things that you've learned.
I think my program experience so far is very similar to Victor. As you've said before, the experience with getting to understand the requirements of the project and having to do everything yourself, translating those into technical requirements, and then implementing those, verify, and all the things that are related to engineering is very valuable for me so far. It's the thing that I've said before in my previous answers, that I gradually begin to learn how to reflect on my previous activities and previous sessions and think about which part was value adding and which part were not value adding, and then to gradually think of a better way to do things. And I think it'll help a lot into the future, and I'll build into that. And also, offside, in terms of my experience with ELU, that is not pertaining to the study but also related to it, is that it's not a heavily bureaucratic machine. It's ELU was very responsive to whenever I had a problem, and so I think very appreciative of that.
I'm glad. And also, what you said before ties in with what Leandro said in his presentation about the soft skills as well. So it's nice to talk about that. So, how do you think the studies will help you with your career, like your future? So, for example, you, Victor, you want to change careers to another role.
Um,
Um, Sorry. Um, no, as I mentioned, this is kind of like my sort of chose to be. It's kind of a self-improvement skill set which I found myself throughout my career as a gap. I'm not seeing myself to be a full-time data scientist for the future. You never know. This capability is enabling you to be someone else and do a shift in your midlife career, as an example. I'm not planning to do that. What I'm planning is to, with this knowledge I'm learning in a university, gain more value and provide more value to our business stakeholders, as well as creating better products. And you were asking, using the skill set throughout my work. Actually, I did use it already, because we have had some use cases which were looking into pricing or promotion effectiveness, where we have used certain algorithms which were in fact which we have been looking into throughout one of the seasons of data science. And of course, it helped me to have a better straightforward conversation with my business partners, to understand that you have a problem, but obviously in a data transformation world, you can't expect literacy on a data level on the same space as a data scientist would be. So you need to have those bridges built which can help to translate those. And I can say that what I've learned from the school, I could use it for a better conversation and a better proposition for a product as an output, which could hand over to the data science team to create a product at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that's very nice also to understand what other people are doing in your team. It's very important if you want to have a good communication. Um, and what about you, Adrian? Like, what do you want to do, like, with your future career? Do you have?
yeah, I think for me it's very similar to what Victor said, that the knowledge and the skills I think will not depreciate in the future, is likely to come to use, whatever, because it's just so core to everything. And if I imagine the next 30 years, I think it'll never depreciate, and in fact might appreciate if I continue on this path. and I still have a long way to go, but I'm certain of it, that I'll make use of it. But also another benefit and value of this education is, again, I must emphasize the way of thinking of an engineer. I think it's very valuable, because you see that very visibly in Elon Musk and in Jeff Bezos and all the biographies that I've read. They think in a certain way and in a very clear way, and I just want to build that on my own, develop that as well, and because I think it's a good investment for whatever I will do. But of course, I'm planning to pivot myself with technology.
That's nice. And for our last question, what advice would you give other people that are aspiring to become engineers or aspiring to study software engineer or data science, aspiring to be in where you are right now?
From what I see is that and being an engineer seems like a very competitive world, and so maybe it can sometimes feel so lonely at times. But the solution to that is probably in my suggestion is to make life bigger than yourself, so that you feel that your life is more valuable, that you have a goal worth pursuing. And also, yeah, and sorry, I have to read my notes here. Oh, also, don't take engineering too seriously. I've seen some engineers who have in my search, engineers who've become too obsessed with being objective about things, and they do the same towards life and human emotions, and I don't think it's very ethical. I think if you become an engineer, you, yes, acquire the way of engineers, the way they think, but also retain the common empathy and values that basic human emotions have.
Yeah, that's a good, it's a good tip. What about you, Victor?
It's a very interesting question because I was wondering about there are two answers from my side on it, because obviously if you
Okay.
start your career, I think you need to have sort of a vision, where do you want to be, because computer science and data science are a constantly growing and evolving capabilities. It's not going to stop if you go on this path. Your knowledge today will be obsolete by tomorrow. So if you're on the path of a constant learning pace, understanding and going constantly after the market, the drivers, the key trends, then pretty much always have some sort of a vision where you want to end up. I think when I was considering myself as part of my mid career, and I'm more going into the generalist space. I'm not, and that's why I'm saying I'm not looking myself necessarily a data scientist in the standard content. I think what is most important is to use the capabilities where it has to be and keep it there, because obviously these level of specialization in a generalist kind of layout could make you a bit biased, which you have to be careful, because then you can't focus really much on other topics than the skill set which you're learning. Because I mean, it's super exciting. There's always new challenges coming up. There's always new problems to solve, and normally whoever ends up here loves to solve problems. It's just the big picture should always be on the horizon, and the vision who I want to be like 10 years from now.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I also have another question that I just thought of. It's since I know everything is online, the program is online. How do you feel connected to your peers, even though it's online? Um, Maybe you can, whoever wants to answer.
Well, I haven't had much group projects. I've just had about three, I think. But so far it's been helpful. I've communicated to them quite a lot, I think, for it being given an online thing. I think it's relatively a lot.
Okay, good. What about you, Victor?
I think from my side I can say that it's it's different. So you can't expect the same experience as you would go on a face-to-face university. You will have people you're working together with. You will have people you're constantly working together with, and you will have potentially people who you see time to time, but not part of, not part of your cohort, not part of your team. So the networking and and kind of like the body structure, and obviously people are living all around the world. So I think it's really good for a professional perspective, and it's helping me a lot to work together with peers and run projects, because obviously some peers are much more experienced who will teach me something, some peers are less experienced who I can teach something. I think describing what you have understood from the specific topic is as crucial, because then you can explain how you understand the problem. So I think these are given, but if someone likes to have friends and build friendships and whatsoever, then probably the online space is not the best for that specifically.
Yeah, I agree about the when you're teaching someone something that you've learned, I think you learn it again and it gets more like ingrained in your head. I think that's very nice. Um, so that was the last question. I don't know if anyone in the audience has any questions for me or for them. I don't see any question right now. Um, so, okay, that's it. Thank you so much, both of you, for coming and talking to me, replying to some of my questions, and having a little chat.
Thank
Thank you
you.
too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.